If you're shopping for an affordable electric SUV, you've probably noticed something. A lot of them look good on paper, until you actually drive them. But today, we're testing a model that might just surprise you. The MG S5 EV has been making a lot of noise overseas for its punchy acceleration, solid braking, and a price that undercuts nearly every single mainstream rival. And range analysis to see how it really stacks up against popular EV SUVs you already know, like the Hyundai Kona Electric and the VW ID.4. And honestly, the results might just change your shopping list. Alright, let's set the stage. The MG S5 EV comes from MG Motor, a brand with British roots that's now backed by one of the biggest auto groups in Asia. Over the past few years, MG has quietly built a reputation for making electric vehicles that deliver strong features without that premium price tag. And the S5 EV is the latest example of that strategy. Even though MG is a household name in the US market, the S5 EV is gaining serious attention globally because of where it sits, the ultra-competitive compact EV SUV segment. This category is exploding thanks to rising EV adoption, tightening emissions targets, and consumers wanting something practical, efficient, and affordable without having to step into a tiny hatchback. The S5 EV is positioned as a budget-friendly alternative to the usual players. Think of it as an EV SUV aimed at buyers who want good range and features but don't want to pay Tesla Model Y money. In markets where it's sold, it appeals to young families, commuters, and first-time EV buyers, basically anyone who wants a practical daily driver without the premium badge markup. And why does this model matter right now? Because EV pricing in the US has been trending up, not down. Buyers are hungry for options under $40,000 that don't cut corners on tech, safety, or driving feel. If MG ever officially brings it to the US, the S5 EV could shake things up the same way Hyundai and Kia disrupted the gas car market a decade ago. So, today, we're looking at this car from a US buyer perspective. Is this the next breakout budget EV SUV? Or is it just another spec sheet hero that falls apart in the real world? From the outside, the MG S5 EV takes a clean, modern approach. It's not trying too hard to look futuristic, but it's definitely not bland either. The closed-off front grille, slim LED headlights, and sculpted bumper give it a confident face. Along the sides, you get a slightly sporty stance with sharp shoulder lines and a floating roof effect. The rear is simple but elegant, with full-width LED taillights that wrap around the sides, giving it a premium touch without the premium price. At first glance, it looks more expensive than you'd expect for the segment, closer to something like a Volkswagen ID.4 than a true budget option. Step inside, and the S5 EV surprises even more. The cabin layout is clean, very minimalistic, and uses a combination of soft-touch materials and metal-like accents. Now, it won't fool anyone into thinking it's a luxury car, but it absolutely does not feel cheap. The dual-screen setup, a large center touchscreen, and a fully digital driver display keeps things feeling modern. Seating comfort is solid, with supportive cushioning and enough space for adults in the second row. Cargo space is also competitive, making it perfectly suitable for families or weekend road trips. Tech is one of the strong points here. The infotainment system is responsive, easy to navigate, and supports wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You also get a 360-degree camera system, multiple USB-C ports, and a surprisingly strong audio setup for the price. One cool touch is the smart driving modes, which let you adjust the steering weight, throttle sensitivity, and brake regeneration independently. For safety, the S5 EV includes a fairly complete suite of driver assist features: adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, blind spot detection, rear cross-traffic alert, and automatic emergency braking. The tuning isn't quite as polished as what you'd find in a Honda or Toyota, but it's very usable in everyday driving. Now for the part we tested ourselves, performance. MG claims brisk acceleration for the segment, and in our 0 to 100 km/h test, the S5 EV puts down numbers that compete with SUVs costing thousands more. It's not Tesla quick, but it's absolutely punchy enough for highway merging and zipping around the city. Braking performance is equally impressive. The pedal feel is progressive, and the car stops confidently without that squishy modulation you sometimes find in budget EVs. The regenerative braking is also well-tuned, with 3 different levels you can choose from. Range will vary depending on the market and battery options, but MG's estimates are competitive. In our real-world mixed driving, the efficiency numbers suggest you can comfortably cover your daily commute without any stress. It's not the longest range EV in the segment, but considering the price, it hits a very practical balance. And that brings us to the biggest wild card, pricing. This would vary heavily if it ever reached the US. However, in regions where it's already on sale, it consistently undercuts rivals by several $1,000s, sometimes even coming in under the $35,000 equivalent for well-equipped trims. And that's what makes this car so interesting. If MG brought this exact formula to the United States, it could instantly become one of the best value EV SUVs available. So, let's break down the key highlights and drawbacks. On the plus side, the biggest highlight is the strong price-to-feature ratio. You get tech and performance you normally find in more expensive EVs. The acceleration is surprisingly punchy. It feels quick off the line, making it genuinely fun to drive in the city. The regenerative braking is well-tuned, easy to use, and customizable. And you get a premium-looking design, both inside and out, at a budget price. The tech is great for the money, too, with wireless smartphone integration, big screens, and that 360-degree camera. Finally, the ride quality is very comfortable. It's not sporty, but it absorbs bumps well and feels stable at speed. Now for the drawbacks. The biggest one is brand recognition. In the US, MG is a relative unknown and would need time to build trust. Next, the driver assist features can feel slightly less refined compared to Japanese and Korean competitors. The range is good, but it's not class-leading. Rivals like the Hyundai Kona Electric or the Tesla Model Y long range will go farther on a single charge. The charging network support would also be a big question mark if it were sold in the US. And finally, the resale value is unknown. New brands entering the EV space often face depreciation challenges early on. Overall, the S5 EV's strengths really center around value, tech, and real-world performance. Its weaknesses are mostly related to market perception and long-term ownership confidence, not the vehicle itself. So, the final verdict: can the MG S5 EV actually beat the top EV SUVs? In many ways, yes, at least on value and real-world usability. If MG priced this under most mainstream EVs and based on other regions, that seems likely the S5 EV would immediately stand out for buyers who want a comfortable daily driver. Strong acceleration for the segment, modern tech, practical interior space, and a price that doesn't require financing half your monthly income. Would it beat something like a Tesla Model Y? In pure performance and access to the charging network, no. But in terms of value, absolutely. Would it beat the Hyundai Kona Electric? On interior space and features, yes, and against the VW ID.4. It offers very similar practicality, but likely at a lower cost. So here's my buying advice. If MG ever brings the S5 EV to the US and keeps that aggressive pricing, my recommendation would be to choose the mid-level trim. That's usually where MG packs in the best tech without inflating the cost. You'd get the stronger battery, the better infotainment system, and the full safety suite, all while keeping the price well below its premium rivals. For first-time EV buyers, commuters, and families who want something functional without breaking the bank, the S5 EV could easily become one of the most compelling deals in the entire segment. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more real-world EV tests just like this one, make sure to hit that like button. Drop a comment about which EV SUV you want to see reviewed next. And of course, subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive. Thanks for watching.